Hello everyone, in particular students of plant biology and applied biology. You're welcome to another series of our this module, that is module 2, comprises two basic elements. First is basic grammar, while the second is to do with tenses, that is the English tenses. Now, in this first lecture, we're going to focus on basic grammar. And here, students are expected to learn the rules and conventions of grammar. They should be able to learn how to use words in isolation as well as using words in group. The model also discusses how punctuation marks are used in the proper manner. In essence, the model essentially features word classes, sentence types, tenses in English, as well as punctuation marks. Now, parts of speech. This is something that we've been learning and hearing about right from our elementary levels through to O levels and even now. So traditionally, it is believed that there are 8 parts of speech or word classes in the English language. These are nouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, pronouns, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. Even though advancement in modern grammar tend to bring other subdivisions where generally the parts of speech are divided into open and closed class items. The open class are those items that comprises nouns, adjectives, verbs, and adverbs. They are so called because they allow or accept new members into the class, while the closed classes are items like pronouns, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. They are closed in the sense that they hardly admit new members. Now, the open class words, which we have said are nouns, adjectives, verbs, and adverbs. Nouns, we all know, is a part of speech that names things, ideas, persons, or concepts. Nouns themselves are further classified into proper nouns, common nouns, abstract nouns, concrete nouns, and collective nouns. For adjectives, they are words that essentially describe a noun or pronoun. In English, adjectives generally come before the nouns they describe or they qualify. For example, a brave hunter, a beautiful girl, a good work. These adjectives themselves are further subdivided into demonstrative. For example, demonstrative, interrogative, possessive, as well as descriptive adjectives. Now, for the functions of adjectives, they have various different functions. For attributive adjectives come before the noun they qualify. For example, the fair lady, the big man. Predicative, as the name implies, occur after the finite verb of a sentence. For example, your daughter is very beautiful. We are quite happy. Then comparison of adjectives. Adjectives are used to indicate degrees of comparison. There are 3 such degrees of comparison, which are positive, comparative, and then superlative. For the positive, we have tall. When we talk of taller, then we all know that you're trying to make a comparison between one thing and the other. While for the superlative, we have tallest. So we have tall, taller, tallest. Good, better, best. Intelligent, more intelligent, and most intelligent. For verbs, we all know they are words that denote action. Above could either be finite or non-finite. Finite are those that agree with the subjects of the sentence in which they are used and show the tense. Finite verbs are grouped into lexical and auxiliary. A lexical verb is the major verb in a sentence and is further subdivided into transitive and intransitive. Transitive verb is one that is usually followed by an object in order to complete its meaning. For example, John killed a big snake. Oh, the girl saw a madman. An intransitive verb does not need an object to complete its meaning in a sentence or a statement. For example, my mom died last month. It rained yesterday. Then linking verb is a verb that connects the subject of a sentence to its complement or predicate to indicate the state of being of the subject. For example, liars are liars. My daughter is pretty. Then auxiliary verbs, which are verbs that help the lexical verbs to form sentences or to indicate doubt, possibility, necessity, or obligation. Auxiliary verbs are also of two types. There are primary auxiliaries and then modal auxiliaries. Primary auxiliaries are those verbs, there are three in number. For example, do, have, and be, and act both as lexical as well as auxiliary verbs. As lexical verbs, when an auxiliary is used as a lexical verb, you find examples like she's here, Musa does the cleaning, I had a boring experience there. As auxiliaries, Ladidi is cooking her favorite dish. I did not find it difficult to teach. Modal auxiliaries include can, could, will, would, shall, should, may, might, ought to, used to, need, and dare. For example, you must go back to your house today. You need to see me after the lecture. Non-finite are verbs that are not restricted in any way in tense and number. For example, participle, gerund, and the next is adverb, which is generally a word used to describe or used to modify or qualify a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. Normally, adverb answer one of these questions, either when, where, how, and why. They are also classified into adverbs of time, adverb of place, and adverbs of manner or position. Pronouns are words that we normally use to replace nouns so that we don't have to repeat the noun over and over again. For example, in the statement, Abdul went to visit his friend Sani, but Abdul did not find Sani at home. You find that this sentence sounds rather boring, even absurd. So in order to rectify it to sound rather better, we can replace the noun Abdul that we repeated in the previous sentence with a pronoun so that the sentence will read, Abdul went to visit his friend Sani, but he did not find him at home. Here, the words he and him are pronouns. Others are he, she, her, we, they, I, them, it, and you. Pronouns also are divided into classes, such as personal pronouns, demonstrative pronouns, interrogative, possessive, relative, reflexive, as well as indefinite. When a person speaks to you about someone else who may not necessarily be present, then we say the speaker is first person. You, the listener, you are the second person, and the one spoken about becomes the third person. Here are some examples of personal pronouns. First person, I or we, my or our, me or us, mine or ours. For second person, you have either you, your, or yours. For third person, we have pronouns like he, she, it, his, hers, him, her, they, or them. Demonstrative pronouns are pronouns that indicate a particular person or thing. They are this, these, that, and those. For example, that is an interesting lecture. This is Bayero University, Kano. Those are still in use. These are bad eggs. While interrogative pronouns, as the name implies, used to ask questions. For example, what, who, whom, whose, and which. For instance, what is your favorite dish? Who gave you my book? Which one is yours? Whose bag is this? While possessive pronouns used to indicate ownership or possession, they include his, ours, its, yours, theirs, or mine. This book is mine. The choice is yours. That pen is hers. The classes are ours. While relative pronouns are sometimes similar to interrogative pronouns, except that the relative pronouns introduce subordinate clauses called relative clauses, and at the same time they connect them with the independent clause. For instance, he's the lecturer that chased his student away. These are the chase which I told you about. This is the girl whose father was arrested. This is a man who gave me a lift. Reflexive pronouns. When pronouns combine with suffixes such as self, selves, they form what we call reflexive pronouns. They are so called because they tend to refer back to the subject of the sentence. For example, she's deceiving herself. You have said it yourself. She has locked herself. They ended up hurting themselves. Prepositions. Preposition is a word used with a noun or pronoun in order to show their relationship with some other words in a statement or a sentence. A preposition together with a noun or pronoun, which is its object, form what is called a prepositional phrase. For instance, Abdul gave the book to Mariam. Mariam cooked some food for Abdul. In these sentences, you find that to and for are prepositions, and to Mariam and for Abdul are prepositional phrases. Other prepositions include in, under, out, with, up, off, down. Apart from, as far as, on top of, in front of. Conjunction, which is a word whose function is to link two or more words, phrases, clauses, and sentences. There are three types of conjunction, which are coordinating conjunction, subordinating conjunction, as well as correlative. Coordinating conjunction is to link elements that are of equal rank, equal status in a sentence. In other words, link equivalent grammatical structures. They link words, phrases, or clauses. Example, and, which serves to add an item to another or other items. Musa and Isa are dancing. But, which serves to provide a contrast. He invited her, but she refused. O, which serves to provide an alternative. She either passes or fails these exams. So, which serves to lead to consequences. Mustafa is tired, so he went straight to bed. Subordinating conjunction are words that connect subordinate clauses to main clauses. They include items like if, since, because, as, unless, before, while, though, etc. For instance, I've been here since 4 o'clock. We're going to write a test before they come. I bought a new car because I needed it. Correlative conjunctions are pairs of words used as conjunctions. When correlatives are used, the two items involved should immediately succeed the correlatives. They are not only, but also, neither, no, either or, not, but, both and, such as, and so on and so forth. For instance, both Amina and Mariam passed the exams. She's not only brilliant, but also talented student. Either leave this class or keep quiet. Interjection, which is an exclamation. Interjection expresses a feeling of surprise, disbelief, pain, fear, anger, joy, excitement, agreement, admiration, warning, and or disagreement. For example, I'm sorry. Certainly. Nonsense. I can't believe it. Good gracious me. Sentence structure and function. In English, sentence is defined as a group of words that make a complete sense, and it must have a subject and a predicate. So, for example, if we have a sentence like, the bloke embarked octly, we all know that this this statement comprises a subject and a predicate. But because it does not make any complete sense, then we can't accept it as a sentence. In fact, grammatically, it could serve as a sentence, but semantically, it couldn't be accepted as a sentence in English. Phrase. Phrase refers to a group of related words which does not convey a complete meaning because it has no subject and a finite verb. For example, a noisy class, a dancing boy, a conducive atmosphere for learning, a good idea, behind the door. Types of phrases. A phrase can be divided into different types, such as noun phrase, adjectival phrase, verbal phrase, adverbial phrase, and prepositional phrase. As could be observed, this classification is closely tied to the functions of different word classes or parts of speech. Clause. Unlike a phrase which functions solely as a word, a clause is a group of words containing a subject, a verb, a modifier, and in some instances, even an object. For example, Kairat is here. While he was driving a car, although we came late. Clause is further divided broadly into two classes. The independent clause, which is normally referred to as the main clause or the principal clause, and then a dependent clause. The independent clause expresses a complete thought or idea, while a dependent clause does not. It depends on the main clause in complex sentences in order to make a complete meaning or sense. Independent clause. Some students are waiting outside. Abdul caught the ball. Dependent clause. Although we came late, the program has not commenced. Hafsat came to see Abdul before the flight took off. When the bus broke, we were all worried. Sentence. As I've said earlier, it is a group of words with a subject and a finite verb but and which conveys a complete meaning. A sentence should naturally start with a capital letter and ends with one of the terminal punctuation marks, either a full stop, an exclamation mark, or a question mark. For instance, Muhammad has traveled to Benin. No, Muhammad has not traveled to Benin. How much is this house? As such, for a group of words to be sent to be referred to as a sentence, it should pass the following criteria. 1. It should convey a complete thought. 2. Words should be arranged in an appropriate grammatical pattern. 3. It should begin with a capital letter and end with an appropriate punctuation mark, which is either a full stop or a question mark or even an exclamation in some instances. Types of sentences. Sentences are classified according to the structure, that is, arrangement of clauses, or based on the functions they perform. Sentence types, according to the structure, can be classified into simple, compound, or complex. Simple sentence is mostly an independent clause with a subject and a finite verb containing a single idea. For instance, Umar is sleeping. They have all signed the attendance sheets in the previous lecture. How old is the university? Compound sentence. In compound sentence, there should be two or more men independent clauses connected by a coordinating conjunction such as and, oh, that, or yet. For example, Aliu heard the explosion and he called the police. Mariam washed the dishes and she tried them. Abdul tried hard, yet he failed. Complex sentence is one that contains one independent clause with one or more dependent clauses that are duly connected with appropriate conjunctions. Although it was fine, we decided to stay at home. Ahmad was extremely happy because he passed all his papers. Even though the nation's economy has improved, most people are still complaining. The next type is compound complex sentence. Compound complex sentence contains two or more independent clauses plus one or more dependent clause or clauses. For example, John is a serious student. He always goes to the library to read, but he still fails most of his exams because of his overconfidence. The first girl that I loved in my life was Bilkisu, who inspired me with her brilliance, and she was a school teacher. From another angle, sentences are classified into 6 types according to their functions or the functions which they perform. For example, there's the declarative, the interrogative, exclamatory, wish, command, or request. Declarative sentence is normally a statement which either affirms or denies an idea. For example, President Buhari has dissolved his cabinet yesterday. This is declarative. Mustafa has not registered his courses. Nigeria is the richest country in Africa. Interrogative. This sentence asks questions and ends with a question mark. For example, when did Nigeria get her independence? Are you aware that the economy has improved or it has dwindled? Exclamatory. This sentence type shows a sudden feeling or emotion. As such, it ends with exclamation mark. For example, oh yes, what a nice idea. Wish or desire. This is sometimes called optative sentence, which expresses a wish or hope of something happening soon. For example, I wish you best of luck in your forthcoming exams. I hope to be a graduate in the next couple of months. Command. This sentence type is used to give an order or command. The subject in this sentence is mostly implied, which means that it is not as obvious as in other cases. So the sentence mostly ends with an exclamation mark. For example, you move out of this place. Shut the door. Request. This sentence type lies in the interface between a command and a wish. The language used is mostly polite and the sentence ends with a question mark. For example, could you please shut the door? May I go out to see a friend? Well, this brings us to the end of this slide, and I hope you will listen carefully and then forward your questions, comments, observations, and whatsoever you may have. Till then, let's meet in the next slide. Thank you. Good day.